It looks like wool. It feels like wool. It even smells like lanolin. But sheep don't walk into the forest on two legs. And sheep don't shrink every single year. This is Moinfour, and you are looking at the only village on Earth that harvests itself.
My great-aunt Colleen died in September, which gave me 3 months to learn her trade before the festival. That's how the lawyer phrased it. Not settle her estate or collect your inheritance. He said I had 3 months to learn her trade, like it was a condition of the will, like the village of Moinfour had first claim on my time before I could collect whatever she'd left me. I should tell you, I hadn't seen Colleen since I was 6 years old. I barely remembered her, just an impression of cold hands and a measuring tape that smelled like lanolin and something else, something sharp and old. My mother stopped visiting after that trip. She never explained why. The lawyer's letter found me in Edinburgh, where I'd been working as a textile conservator for the National Museum, restoring ancient fabrics, preserving things that should have rotted centuries ago. Funny that Moinfour wasn't on any map I could find. The lawyer sent directions, handwritten, no GPS coordinates, and I followed them north until the roads turned to gravel, then dirt, then 2 ruts through heather that my rental car barely survived. The village appeared all at once, as if it had been hiding behind the fog until I was too close to turn back. Stone cottages with thatched roofs, a single church with no steeple, peat smoke rising from chimneys into a sky the color of a week-old bruise. Colleen's cottage was at the edge of the village, pressed up against a forest of pines so dark they looked black. The key was under a stone, as the lawyer had promised. The door opened onto a single room dominated by a loom so old the wood had turned the color of bone, and the fabric, bolts of it, stacked against every wall, white as milk, soft as skin, woven so fine I couldn't see the individual threads, even when I held it up to the window. I'm a textile expert. I've handled silk from the Tang dynasty, linen from Egyptian tombs, wool that predates the Roman occupation of Britain. I had never felt anything like this fabric. It was warm, not room temperature, warm, as if it had just come off a living body. The villagers came to me on the second day. Not all at once, one by one throughout the morning, knocking softly and waiting to be invited in. They introduced themselves with names I immediately forgot. My mind seemed to slide off them like water off wax, and they told me how grateful they were that I'd come. "Your aunt kept us clothed for 40 years, said a woman with hands like gnarled roots. Her mother before that, her grandmother before that, all the way back. Back to when? The woman smiled. Back to when we needed clothing. They explained the festival, the winter solstice, the longest night. Every resident of Moinfour would wear a ceremonial garment, a robe, a shroud, something that covered them completely, and they would walk into the forest and stay there until dawn. It's tradition, the woman said. What happens in the forest? We wait. For what? Her smile didn't change, but something behind her eyes did. Something that looked almost like pity. For the night to pass. I found Colleen's journals on the 3rd day. She'd kept meticulous records, measurements for every villager, dates of fittings, notes on alterations and repairs, and in the margins, in handwriting that grew shakier as the years progressed, other notes. The thread must be spun during the waning moon. The warp and weft must alternate, one from last year, one from this. Never cut the fabric with iron, only bone. The source must be willing. This is essential. The source must always be willing. I didn't understand what the source meant. Not then, but I noticed that the measurements changed. Every year the same names appeared in the ledger, but the numbers were different. Not dramatically, an inch here, a centimeter there. The kind of changes you'd expect from aging, from weight fluctuation. Except the changes were all in the same direction. Every year, every villager was getting smaller. The woman with the root hands came back on the 7th day. She said it was time for my training to begin. She took me to a building behind the church, not a rectory, something older with walls of stacked stone, and a roof of living sod. Inside, there was a spinning wheel, a carding station, and a table covered in white cloth. And on the table, waiting for me, was the source material. It looked like wool at first, clean, white, finely crimped. But when I touched it, I knew. It wasn't wool, it was hair. Human hair, but not from a head. Too fine, too soft, too uniformly white. This was the hair that covers a body, the invisible fur we all carry but never see, the down that rises on your arms when you're cold or afraid. Where does this come from? I asked. The woman was already feeding fibers into the carder. From us. I don't understand. Every year we give a little more. She held up her arm, and I saw how thin she was beneath her sleeve. Not malnourished, diminished, as if something had been slowly siphoned away. The forest asks and we answer. Your aunt spun our answers into thread. You will do the same. I should have left that night. I packed my bag. I walked to my car, I turned the key in the ignition and drove down the rutted track toward the main road. The road curved. The fog thickened. And 20 minutes later, I was parked in front of Colleen's cottage again, my hands on the wheel, my engine still running. I tried 4 more times. The result was always the same. They came to me for fittings throughout November. One by one, the villagers stood in my great-aunt's cottage while I measured them with her bone-handled tape. They were patient. They were grateful. They removed their clothes without shame, and I saw what the giving had cost them. Their bodies were thin, not skeletal, nothing so dramatic, but reduced, pared down to essentials. Skin stretched over muscle and bone with no padding between, and the skin itself was smooth, hairless. They had given so much over so many years that there was nothing left to give. Nothing visible, anyway. What happens if someone doesn't participate? I asked the root-handed woman. Her name was Mora, I had learned by then. She was the oldest. She remembered my great-aunt as a young woman. Everyone participates, she said. But if they didn't, if they refused? Mora's eyes went distant. There was a man before your aunt's time, Niall Brennan. He said the old ways were superstition. He stayed home on the longest night. What happened to him? The forest came to him. She didn't elaborate. She didn't need to. The solstice is tomorrow. I've finished the garments. 43 robes, each one tailored to fit a body that has grown slightly smaller than it was last year. The fabric is warm and white and impossibly soft. When the light catches it, I can almost see patterns in the weave, shapes that look like faces, like reaching hands, like mouths frozen mid-word. I've made one for myself, too. The measurements were already in Colleen's ledger, in handwriting that wasn't hers. My name, my numbers. Dated 35 years ago, the year after my mother stopped visiting. She was supposed to be the next seamstress, but she ran, so they wrote my name instead. They've been waiting for me my whole life. Mora came to see me tonight. She explained what the forest takes. It's not much, not at first. A year of sleep, the memory of a summer, the particular blue of your mother's eyes, small things that you don't notice until you reach for them and find empty space. And the robes? I asked. The fabric? Holds what we give, keeps it safe, keeps it here. She gestured at the walls of the cottage, at the hundreds of bolts stacked like cordwood. Every sacrifice your family has ever spun, every piece of every person who's ever walked into those trees on the longest night, it's all still here. We wear our ancestors into the forest. They keep us warm. And the forest accepts this? Mora smiled, and I saw how few teeth she had left. The forest accepts what the forest is given. Your aunt gave it 40 years of spinning. Before her, her mother. Before her, hers. All the way back to the first winter, when the village learned what lived in the dark between the trees. What does live there? Cold, she said. Just cold. The kind that thinks. The kind that wants. She left me with a gift, a small wooden box containing a lock of white fiber. From your mother, she said, given when she was 6 years old. Colleen kept it safe for you, so you'd have something of her to wear tomorrow night. It's almost midnight. I can hear them gathering outside, 43 voices, humming a melody that I don't recognize but somehow know. The robes are distributed. The procession will begin soon. I'm wearing my garment now. It fits perfectly. It's warm and soft, and it smells like lanolin and something else, something like breath, like the exhalation of everyone who ever wore this fabric before me. I can feel them in the weave. Hundreds of years of small sacrifices pressed together, thread by thread. They're not gone. They're worn. And tomorrow, when I sit down at the loom, I'll add what I gave tonight to the fabric for next year's robes. I don't know what I'll give yet. The forest chooses. But I can feel it already. Something loosening inside me. Something preparing to be pulled free. If you're listening to this, I need you to understand. I'm not asking for rescue. This is what my family does. This is what we've always done. We spin the village into thread, we weave the thread into cloth, and we wrap our community in everything they've given so they can survive another year. The forest is patient. The forest is cold. The forest would take everything if we let it. But we don't let it. We give a little at a time, and we wear what we've given, and we walk into the dark together so no one has to walk alone. That's not horror. That's just survival. The humming is louder now. It's time. I'm going to leave this recording in the cottage. Maybe you'll find it someday. A stranger, a researcher, someone whose GPS malfunctions and whose road curves back on itself. If you do, don't be afraid. Just know that somewhere in the fabric stacked against these walls, there's a thread that used to be part of me. And on the longest night, when the cold thinks loudest, someone will wear me into the forest, and I'll keep them warm.